Hey guys, today we're gonna be training. Today I'm gonna be riding Eclipse, my magic horse. This looks better with my fit, so we're not riding the magic version of the horse today, sorry. A lot of you guys have been asking for this video again this year. I did a similar one last year where I read your spooky stories. I'm not gonna lie, I've been a little bit nervous to film this because last time I almost peed my pants. Genuinely, it was so scary. Anyways, I'm gonna try again reading your spooky stories, and there were a lot of submissions, so if I didn't read your submission this time, I'm sorry. I've been doing all the fall things. I made homemade bread, I made homemade jam. That's not even a fall thing actually. That's just being extra productive. So I decided while my bread is cooking in the oven, I was like, oh, I could film my Halloween video. That would be very fall too. Okay, we're gonna start with all the Halloween races because, you know, it's that time of year. As always, I'm gonna be starting with my channel member submissions first, and then I'll be reading everyone else's. One day my family and I were on our farm. My mother was alone in the house and the rest were riding horses when suddenly we heard a scream. My mother thought one of us had screamed and we thought it was her. In the end, no one had screamed, and to this day, we do not know who screamed. Love your vids. Kisses from Moon. Ew, no. I hate stuff like this. I'm concerned. Can I tell another scary story of my own that kind of relates to this one? So I was riding horses. Well, I was riding one horse. I mean, you can only ride one horse at a time, you know? Like, it's chill. Anyways, I was riding my horse at a lesson. We were out on a trail and we heard a scream. I'm not kidding, it was a scream. And I was like, what the heck is that? Like, there are sometimes kids and like people walking around with their families, whatever, on the trails after school or whatever, but it was like kind of weird because I was like, why would you bring like a baby to, it sounded like a baby scream onto this trail. It just seemed kind of weird personally. Would I do that? No. Anyways, my instructor was like, that sounds like a baby mountain lion. And I was like, what? It sounds like a baby screaming. So guys, apparently mountain lions, baby mountain lions sound like that when they're screaming. So fun fact. Anyways, so that was a little haunting. As soon as we heard that, we were like, let's get out of here. Screaming is never a good sign, but at the first sound of mountain lions, I'm out of here. Anyways, that's my scary story. Thanks for sharing yours, Moon. This is my least favorite Halloween daily because it upsets me for various reasons. Oh my gosh. One Halloween with my friends, we were trick-or-treating at like the little kiddie time. We weren't little kids, but we wanted to get to the lollies first. Our parents were at home throwing a party for themselves while we were out. We were technically old enough to be out on our own, but being the stupid teenager we dared each other to knock on the scary house. No, you didn't. Why on earth? We were terrified, but did it anyways. The guy was kind of an outcast and not necessarily scary, but everyone kind of stayed away from him as if they knew something we didn't. My friend knocked on the door and waited. We heard footsteps and a crash, and then the door flung open. He looked confused as to why we were there, but then invited us in for tea. We were way too scared, so we ran back to our parents. A week later, he was arrested. None of us know why or if we could have been kidnapped, but then yeah, thanks for reading. Oh my gosh, I am in shock. I was gonna say even like halfway through reading that, I was gonna be like, oh, like maybe he's misunderstood. Like that's nice of him to invite you in for tea. Maybe like, okay, here's the thing. Maybe inviting someone in for tea is like the equivalent of someone inviting Americans in for candy. I can just tell from the fact that you called it lollies that you're from the UK probably, but here in America, we always tell kids, like you're taught from a young kid, if strangers try to give you candy, then you should run away. So maybe we'll say inviting you in for tea is the equivalent of giving candy to kids in the US. Anyways, that's a really scary story, and I'm really glad that you guys decided to run away and that you're safe. Wow, the first submission is your mom. Not even your mom, but your mom. Thank you so much. I'm gonna send this to my mom right now. Thank you for that submission.
That was mostly a joke.
For some reason, saying mum instead of mom makes you kind of seem like a baddie, and it kind of like hurts a little bit more. You know what I mean? Like I feel a little bit of a burn. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so one time I went to my friend's house when I was like really young, and we'd always sneak out because her mom didn't care what we did. I'm looking for the pumpkins, by the way. Her mom didn't care what we did, and one time we snuck out and saw a man just like standing in the road looking around. So we ran back inside, but like an hour later there was knocking on the door. Mind you, it was around midnight. So my dumb self decides to open it and there was no one. Eventually we went back outside and saw the same man. We went back inside and the same knocks and the same pattern occurred. It was a repeated cycle for the entire night. The same same man outside, the same knocks, literally the scariest night of my freaking life. But it's okay, Jesus is with me. Oh my gosh, it sounds like Jesus was with you, but bro, you gotta help Jesus out, because when you hear strange knocks, you don't go outside, bro. Like, I can't believe that you decided to go outside after having strange knocks at your door. That's just silly. I visited and toured an old plantation that was supposedly very haunted as a kid. Why you guys be doing this? Why are you touring haunted things? What is in it for you? I was around 2 or 3 and walked around with my family through the whole house until I got to the last room. I refused to step through the threshold and I started freaking out. My mom claims I literally crawled up my grandma's side, so she took me back out the way we came in. The tour guide had said there was a child spirit that liked to appear to kids. What the frick?
Oh, I don't like stuff like this, bro.
Fast forward to a few years ago, I went again to the same plantation with a friend. I took the tour again, and when I was standing with the group touring, I started to feel dizzy and my vision went fuzzy. Funny thing was, I was not dehydrated and I had food before we left. I excused myself and walked out to the front porch and sat down. It went away within 5 minutes. The tour guide explained to the group that sometimes people can feel spirits because they make them dizzy or become cold quick. I went back through no problem. It was odd, so I'm curious to see if this happens elsewhere to me. Okay, here's the thing. I question everything. Okay, I don't really believe in this spooky stuff, but I'm going with it because it's entertaining, okay? But there could be a variety of reasons why you felt sick. So I'm a little skeptical of these tour guides, but anyways, that's spooky. I was walking with my brother and parents on Halloween, and we were walking around a corner house, and this guy slowly walks out of his house with a clown mask and then starts chasing us with an active chainsaw in his hands. I was 8. This really happened? You're freaking kidding. It sounds almost like you're describing this story. I feel like out of context, you could have just been describing yourself at a haunted house. You know what I mean? But if this happened like on the street, like normal, I am very concerned.
Are you even okay?
This kind of reminds me of, there's this like strange individual who walks up and down the sidewalks around where I live, and they are dressed up. That's all I'll say. They are dressed up in a costume. And I had seen them a couple times and I was like, who the frick is this? Like, I'm concerned, like what's going on? So I like looked into it and I turned to, you know, like the main source of information for me, which is Reddit.
That was a joke, by the way.
There's a whole Reddit community about it, and I found it, and then I was like reading about it, and people were talking about this person, and I was like, oh, okay, so this is like a thing. Anyways, that story doesn't really have a happy ending. I just wanted to say that. Okay, well, let's start over because that sucks. This happened to me 7 times in a row the other day when I was trying to do this race, getting launched into space, and then it kicks you out of the Halloween area. So freaking annoying. Hi Koko, got a pretty long one for you. Hope you don't mind. Don't crash too much reading it. At least you guys know me. My scary story happened a few years ago when I was around 14. My parents and I had been preparing to move houses, so the house we were moving from was in that weird half empty, half full state. You know what I appreciate? I appreciate you put your submission into paragraphs for a nice reading. Bless your soul. The new house was a decent car journey away, but because I was still going to school every day and it was closer to the old house, my parents let me sleep there whilst they spent the night organizing the furniture at the new house. They would regularly call me to check on me, and I had my cat with me, so I felt safe. That sounds kind of spooky. When I was 14, I would have been scared, but however, one of the nights I couldn't really sleep well. I guess I was so excited about moving houses that it stopped me from feeling sleepy. So like an idiot, I decided to stay awake and watch some TV to pass the time. Only I started watching a horror game playthrough.
What?
And it scared the life out of me. I called it quits after a while and forced myself to go back to sleep because I had school the next day. But as I was drifting off, looking back, I was probably just in the process of falling asleep. I very clearly heard someone say my name. Not whisper it, say it. Full outdoors voice.
Not the outdoor voice, bro.
Safe to say, I convinced my parents to let me stay at the new house with them for the rest of the move after that. That like creepy state where you're like almost about to fall asleep and then you wake up is the worst. One time I was at my barn alone. It was about 9:00 p.m. and I was about to go home. I was really tired, so I could be imagining this, but as I was about to leave, I heard a stall door slam. It was on the other side of the barn, so of course I went over to see what it was. When I looked at the stall, there wasn't a horse there, so I thought nothing of it. As I was walking away, it slammed again, but when I went back to check, there was a horse in the stall. Not sure if it was a prank or because I was tired, but I was shivering in my timbers when it happened. LOL. Oh my gosh. I've never heard someone say shivering in my timbers. So are you telling me that there was a horse ghost or a horse that let itself in and out of its stall? That's pretty pretty spooky. Okay, I have 2 mildly scary and long ones, so good luck. Thank you. In my house, we have a bunch of photos from photo shoots from birthdays to graduations. We have photos. One time I was talking with my mom and my sister when all of a sudden a photo of my sister dropped on top of my head, causing me to get a migraine. There was no fan on, and the picture is secured by a nail. There was no way for me to have lifted or moved it. Oh my gosh, thank freaking goodness I did not die. I'm a little confused. So you're telling me that a picture that was nailed to the wall just fell off? Okay, I'm gonna interpret this. It means that a picture of your sister hit your head in the face. That means that you need to buy your sister a better gift for Christmas this year. You know what I'm saying? Number 2, I wasn't there, nor my sister or mom, but I will never forget it. My Gigi, aka my grandma, was with my blood-related grandpa and some other friends and family. They had decided to go to a snowy hill for the winter and to stay in a cabin for a week or so. Fine, I'll do the Galloper Thompson thing, even though it's freaky as frick. One dark chilly night, they were in my great-grandpa's truck driving on the hill when all of a sudden the car stopped. They tried shaking it, turning it on and off, but nothing worked. They decided to head back to the cabin and see what stopped the truck in the morning. When they came back, they couldn't believe their eyes. The truck was half off the edge of a cliff, meaning if they were to drive forward, they would have fallen off. Until this day, I'm so grateful my grandma and other families survived. Bro, that is miraculous. I'm glad that everyone was okay as well. Ooh, should we do the cauldron? One time I was with some of my friends for my first birthday sleepover. It was about 3 a.m. in the morning and we were trying to pull an all-nighter. Me and this other girl ended up going downstairs to grab some cereal, and on the way back upstairs there was this weird whispering voice that was like a sudden shh. This was like when we were 7. We quickly hurried back upstairs while screaming, soon to realize that the door back in was locked. No, you are freaking kidding me right now. We started crying and finally the door budged. It turned out our friends thought we were zombies. Oh my gosh. You had me on the edge of my seat and your friends really locked you out. I was about to lose my mind. The common thread of all these scary stories is you guys need to stop going outside at nighttime. When it's dark, it's time to watch TV or play games or something to stay inside. Do not be going out on these adventures in the middle of the dark forest, okay? And don't watch horror movie playthrough videos at home at night alone. It's not gonna go well. What the heck just happened? That was so weird. Sophia, you good, bro? Are you even good, bro? That was concerning. Since it's Halloween time, let's go to Golden Stables. When I was a kid, I firmly believed in this German folktale because of this one opera I watched, and I was completely convinced it was real. And one day when I was sneaking out to meet my friends, I had to climb down this tree that's outside my window, and I was going to ride over to where me and my mates were going to have a bonfire, and then I heard something whisper at me and I freaked out. So I got on my little pony and galloped down the road, and I could hear the second set of hoofbeats. And when I looked back, I swear I saw like a ghostly horse.
Oh my gosh.
Speaking of, are we freaking kidding right now that I just got chased by Galloper? I am spooked out right now. This is ridiculous. Did you guys just see that happen right now? That did not just really happen. Anyways, you could hear a second set of hoofbeats, and when I looked back, I swear I saw like a ghostly horse. I still think I did to this day, almost 10 years later. Every now and then when I'm riding through the same area, I will hear a horse whinny, even though I swear I'm alone. By the way, I love your vids, Luna. Luna, what the heck? I'm like very confused. So let me get this straight. You escaped from your room by climbing down a tree and then got on a pony and started galloping away from your house? What kind of farmhouse criminal are you? I'm just shook that that happened. That when I was reading your story, as soon as you said I looked behind me and saw a second set of hoof prints, I noticed that Galloper Thompson was chasing me. Spooky. That's all I could say. Sorry if this is long. So on Halloween night, me and my friends, we were 5, had a sleepover and decided to watch a scary movie. Don't remember the movie. So you're telling me when you were in kindergarten, you decided to watch a scary movie? Bro, what the? Once the movie was done, we were all going to bed, but one of my friends, let's call her friend 1, started seeing someone at the door. The door was open. She was screaming and yelling and saying, "Did you guys just see someone at the door? I swear someone just ran past." We had no idea what she was talking about. She kept panicking, so we closed the door and went to sleep. But in the middle of the night, it was about 2 a.m. Me and my friend 2 went upstairs to get water. As we were going up the stairs, we realized that none of the lights were on. We walked to the kitchen and turned the light on. We saw friend 3 was just standing there staring at us, but she didn't say anything or move. We went to go see her and tried to get her her to stop and see what was wrong, but she just walked past us, closed the lights, and went downstairs and went to bed. Me and my friends were so confused, but we were so tired, so we went to bed. The next morning, we woke up and told all our friends what happened. They did not believe us. We told the friend 3's mom, and she checked the cameras in the kitchen, and we were right, but she wasn't surprised because they installed it since they had found out that friend 3 was sleepwalking. Now every time we sleep at her house, we can't wait to look at the footage. Love your content. Ugh, sleepwalking is so creepy, honestly. Like, I've heard that like people sleepwalking are like some of the most dangerous people to approach. Like, they can become like crazy and violent because they're dreaming. Like, I don't know about you guys, but like in my dreams, I am not violent. I'm running away from people. So it was Halloween night, but it was really late, and me and my friends were walking home because we had enough candy to fill us up for 3 months. And I went to go drop off my friend by walking at her house because it was 1 street away from mine. After I left her house, I noticed a white van was parked suspiciously close to her house, but I never overthink things, so I continued home. Oh gosh, no. But then as I was getting close to my house, I could see the same car slowly rolling towards me, so I picked up my pace, getting myself ready if anything happens. Then the car sped up and slowly started to pass me, but the weirdest thing was there was no one in the driver's seat. I was terrified and started running home. Luckily, the streets were crowded and I wasn't alone, and when I got home, I cuddled with my dog and binge watched Disney movies while eating all my candy. LOL. Sorry, this was long, and have a spooky Halloween. You are so real for that. You are so real for just going home and binge watching stuff and eating candy. Honestly, that's potentially could have been very different, so I'm glad you're okay. Maybe it was like one of those videos where someone's dog was driving the car. When I was about 3, my parents were cleaning the attic out because we were getting ready to move. My dad teased me about there being ghosts up there and how he's seen them. Why do dads always gotta be like that? My 3-year-old self didn't believe him that much and thought he was probably joking. One day though, my dad brought me to the attic because I was curious about being up there, and suddenly about 20 feet in front of me, I see a figure. It scared me so bad I almost fell down the ladder trying to climb down. Excuse me? Why is there nothing more? That's it? There's no follow-up to that? What was the figure, bro? What the heck? I'm hoping it was your dad trying to scare you. Okay, a while back I kept getting text messages from someone who I thought was some person named Maria. I assumed they were scam texts trying to get me to click links, etc. Anyways, a few weeks go by and I don't get any of the messages, but when I try to use my phone number and add it to my Amazon account, it logged me in as Maria. This isn't the only place I had this happen. I deleted that Amazon account and everything in it. My bread is done. Shortly after, I got spammed with messages from different numbers, still calling me Maria, saying suspicious things that only people close to me would know. I blocked and reported them and thankfully haven't had any more problems. What the frick? It sounds like someone tried to steal your identity and was maybe trying to get some information about you so they could steal your identity. Wait, I gotta go get my bread. 1 second. I was having a sleepover with 2 of my friends. One was 3 years younger, but it was around Halloween, and we were trying to binge watch Scream movies when we heard the gate to my basement rattle. We have both dogs and cats, and they aren't allowed downstairs, so I just assumed it was one of them. I went to check to get them away, but the gate was wide open. I closed it, and some time went by till it rattled again, and a squeaky bell came bouncing down the stairs and into a hallway. We heard loud noises and footsteps from the main floor, and it was like 1 a.m., so my parents wouldn't have been up. We went up to the main floor with many hockey sticks, but there was no one. We were like, what? And shook it off till we heard a squeak coming from the basement. We did not want to go back downstairs till we heard footsteps coming up the stairs. We slipped into this little that had a wall between us and stairs. We just ran downstairs as quiet as possible and saw that the many sticks began arranged in a 6, and we were freaked out. We then heard a giggle from a closet which had all of our old childhood toys. No, stop. And then the door opened and it was my brother all along. I had never had a scarier experience and genuinely thought I was gonna die. I'm not gonna lie, I almost didn't finish your submission, but I'm glad I did. I'm glad it was your brother, otherwise I was about to cancel this train with me. So, I mean, not Halloween related, but one of the scariest horse experiences I've had was one day I was just hacking. I had a lesson earlier this day with another horse and it was scorching hot, so I wasn't wearing a vest for my hack, which usually made it better for some reason. I was doing a little pattern with cavalettes and pulls to try to get my lead changes better, since I struggle with that with my pony. He's an absolute doofus and the most dramatic horse I've met, so because of that, when I went around the corner, he saw something on the other side of the fence. He did his little move where he jumps to the side. Whenever he does that, he usually goes off bronking, but the jump I was doing in my lesson was right there, and it was far too big for him to jump over, so he had nowhere to go, but all of them momentum that you can imagine a pony to have. He fell right on top of me, and it hurt so bad. My ears were ringing and my entire view was black with shots of light. I rolled over and saw my horse standing quite a bit away, but at that point it was super blurry and still really bright. I was in fact okay. I had a concussion and pulled muscles in my neck, plus for some reason both my kneecaps were purple afterwards. My horse was okay as well, but I think he fell bad. Anyway, I love your videos so much and I hope maybe I can make it in one. Oh my gosh, that sounds actually really scary. I'm really glad you're okay. That is really scary, especially if you injured your neck. Like, that could have been so much worse. Oh my gosh. Horses do be making the best decisions, am I right? This isn't my story, but my band teacher told my class this story. His grandpa worked as a bus driver late at night that day. He picked up a person that had a ball in his hands and kind of looked weird. The person sat behind him, which he noticed through the bus driver's mirror. He was driving like normal, no stops made. He saw the ball fall down the exit stairs. He looked for the guy behind him, which he saw no trace of. Since then, it still haunts me. Like, how did that guy... Bro, I don't like that. I don't like that at all. Let me tell you. Okay, I just saw the word dentures, so I'm gonna read this story. So one time I was at the lake with some of my friends, and there's an abandoned house beside their house. So a little backstory. This house used to be owned by an old couple, but the husband killed the wife. Oh my gosh. So the husband is in jail and the wife is gone. So me and my friends decided we should explore the house. So we went first around the outside and found a lot of fancy jewelry. Then we went inside and there was a lot of spider webs and plants on the door. We opened the door and I was the first to go in. Half of the floor was caved in by the piano, so we went where the floor wasn't caved in, and we came across a small box and decided to open it. Bad idea. My friend opened it and screamed. It was dentures. We haven't gone inside the house since. This was a year ago. Bro, why'd you go in the house in the first place? I would literally absolutely never go in there. Okay, anyways. So I live in an area where there's lots of wildlife in the Rocky Mountains, and me and my family went camping for a few days. The first night we were there, my brother and I kept hearing strange noises outside, like slamming and walking around. We both got pretty spooked and were convinced that a person was outside. We ended up not sleeping that night. The next morning, we made my dad go outside to investigate, only to find a bear got into our cooler and ate most of our food. Make sure y'all put your food in a car when camping. Yeah, I grew up around areas that had lots of bears. Bear safety rule number 1, you can't have food on the ground. People tie their food up in trees, even in your car. I think a bear could get in your car. It was around 11 p.m. and I really wanted some McDonald's. Relatable. I was staying in a hotel with your what? As we were long distance at the time. We decided to go get some fries down the street, but he always warned me about not going out alone at this time of night in this particular area. It's run down at some parts and sketchy people are always there. Well, since it is a short walk, we started walking to the McDonald's. We just got to the part of the street where there were no lights or any open businesses. Out of nowhere, this guy in all black starts following us. My boyfriend tells me to run, so I start running to the McDonald's as he tries to go deal with the guy. What? Why would he even do that? I would run. I got to the McDonald's and just was waiting while my heart raced. Once I was in the light, the guy disappeared and I never saw him again. To this day, I don't know why that man was following us or what he wanted.
What happened to your boyfriend?
One thing I kind of hate about the Halloween update is that, like, the portals always make my graphics so glitched. But anyways, kind of spooky. Okay, hopefully you guys enjoyed hearing some of each other's spooky stories. I personally am a little scared. There were so many other ones that I didn't even get to, but I gotta go cut my bread, you know what I mean? So thanks for watching. Bye.
I'm on thin ice, you'd never guess. I've been hiding a monster.